What's up, everybody? Justin Brennan here with Multifamily School. So I get the question a lot regarding taxes, especially if you're a 9-to-5 W-2 employee, maybe you're even a business owner or entrepreneur and you're trying to avoid taxes, and by investing through real estate, i.e. maybe even multifamily, how can you avoid taxes and reduce your tax basis to the government? We're going to walk through that specifically here today. Keep it nice and short, but then walk through it. A lot of nuance beyond this, but I'm going to kind of give you the headlines so that way if you have more questions, you can jump in and answer those. So here we go. Let me minimize myself here. So how to avoid taxes as a W-2 employee investing in real estate or multifamily. So here's the two ways you do it, the things you have to classify as. If you're an employee, like if you're W-2 doing another job every day and you're going to invest in real estate, how do I get the benefits of real estate and that tax benefits called bonus depreciation and cost segregation, and be able to bring that through to offset my W-2 ordinary income, not just my capital gains, but my ordinary income, because there's two types of income taxes you want to avoid. Capital gains, which is towards investment type stuff, and ordinary income, which is your daily job stuff. How do I avoid both? Here's how you do it. You have to have 750 hours of material participation in real estate trade or business. That's 14 hours a week. So 14 hours a week has to be dedicated towards property management, doing something in real estate asset management, looking at the real estate, reviewing documents, reviewing financials, getting on the phone, talking to somebody. Listen, it's gray area stuff, right? But it can be documented and you can follow it and qualify for this relatively easily. 14 hours a week, right, to be able to get this benefit. Additionally, more than 50% of you or your spouse's personal services has to be dedicated towards real estate activities. So the greatest holy grail, this is how I typically see it a lot. Your spouse, right? Maybe they're working a 9-to-5 too, maybe they're not. But you guys want to get these benefits. So the ideal setup is if maybe they're not and they're an entrepreneur or maybe even a real estate agent with a real estate license or a real estate professional, you're doing the 9-to-5 work and they're doing either stay at home or they're doing another profession that's not W-2. You guys file jointly. That's a very easy way for them to classify for these two things and get the real estate professional classification. And then when you go in real estate and you buy stuff, and you're getting all these depreciations coming through, you can offset your ordinary income that you guys are joint filing on, plus the capital gains. You get both. That's the benefit of it. But the classification as a real estate professional is key to it, and this is how you do it. 1 and 2. So more than 750 hours of material participation in real estate trade or businesses, which is 14 hours a week. And more than 50 hours or 50% of your spouse's or your total personal services must be in real estate activities. So that's typically the best way to do that. Let me give you a couple examples and break this down for you, okay? So let's take a 15-unit multifamily building. You're buying it for $1.5 million. You're going to get a loan for just over $1 million. Getting that loan is easier than getting a $200,000 house loan because remember, the bank is underwriting the property's financials, not yours. Much different. It's commercial real estate. $450,000 is equity. That's a down payment. Now, typically when you syndicate a deal, you're not bringing in all the money. You're bringing in 10% of it. That's you. 10% of it. That's $45,000 out of pocket. And now you have control of a 15-unit building because you're the head honcho running the show. OPM is other people's money. Right? This could be friends and family. This could be people in a community. This could be seller financing, creative financing, private lenders, all the above, right? OPM, other people's money, anybody other than you. That's the other 90% that comes in. Now, you're going to have a cost seg study done when you buy a building like this. It's a few $1,000s, it gets done. That cost seg study is what gives you the ability to accelerate the depreciation over 5 years typically versus 27 and a half, which is the normal cycle for depreciation under the IRS tax code. You're going to accelerate it in 1 to 5 years, which means you get a lot of that depreciation up front to help offset a lot of your income taxes. Big chunks, okay? Let's keep going. So what does this mean? It means you get paper losses for you and your investors to help offset the income. Paper losses. That's the key because the paper losses transfer to your personal tax returns and allow you to write off ordinary income if you have it set up right and capital gains taxes. Both, okay? Both. This is what you're trying to do. So how much typically do you get to write off? It depends on the deal. But typically from what I've seen in my 15 plus years of doing this and the 1,000 plus units that we own, and we're growing to 10,000 units and $1 billion, typically you're going to see 85% to 110% of the money that you invested. Let me show you further. So here's an example. Based on the other one that I showed you over here, right? $450,000 in total down payment went in for you and the investors. You're part of that. So based on that $450,000 total invested, year one paper loss on a $1.5 million deal that we just showed you, 15 units, somewhere between 380 to 500 grand is going to come through in a paper loss through a K-1 statement to you that you can then hand to your CPA, and if you set it up right, they're going to wipe out your ordinary income taxes to Mr. Uncle Sam and any capital gains taxes. Okay? This is the holy grail. Now the key to it, ideally, is you have to classify as the real estate professional doing this stuff. And we talked about how that can happen, right? How that can happen. More than 750 hours of material participation in real estate trade or businesses, 14 hours a week. So if you have a 9 to 5 and you're going to side hustle with real estate investing in multifamily, 14 hours a week, bada bing, bada boom, okay? Then the 50% for you or your spouse. Look, there's ways to get this done. There is gray area in this, right? Be tactful, talk to your CPA and your tax strategist, but you can absolutely execute this because everybody that I know that's in our communities and doing this stuff, including ourselves, we are. People that are 9 to 5s. I mean, I literally just showed a surgeon in New York, high tax state. He and his wife does not work full time. She has her real estate license, and he's a surgeon, makes a gob of money. He's paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to state and federal income taxes. And I said, sir, if I can simply show you how to avoid income taxes for the rest of your human existence, would that be beneficial to you? He's like, yes, show me. And I broke it down for him. And I said, here's how you're going to do it. You're a surgeon, right? You probably can't set this up this way. But you have a spouse. You're in a lucky position. And your spouse is not working full time, which means as a real estate professional with her real estate license, she can start spending these hours and setting this up. So now when you go buy these multifamily apartment buildings and you do the cost segregation and you accelerate that depreciation, it's going to come through in paper loss on a K-1 statement for you every year. And as long as you're doing one deal a year, sir, you're going to have these massive hundreds of thousands of dollars in tax write-off that's going to come into you and your family. And now jointly, you guys file your tax returns, and then rather than paying Uncle Sam hundreds of thousands of dollars, well, you get to write it off by buying real estate assets that appreciate, you get cash flow, all these other benefits that come into it. Why would you not do that? And he says, that's crazy. It seems illegal. I said, well, I understand that, but this is totally illegal through the IRS tax code. So this is how you do it. So this is cost segregation, bonus depreciation, accelerated depreciation, bonus depreciation, same lingo, okay? But a cost segregation is the study that gets done. It's the method, the tool that allows you to do the bonus depreciation and accelerate depreciation. So I hope this helps. Trying to keep this short, under 10 minutes for you. Any other questions? Click the links below. If you're looking to actually even learn this stuff, right? If you want to learn it and actually get into multifamily, you can come into our community. We have a community that you can jump into. Not trying to sell you, but look, if you want to learn this stuff and get into a collaborative community where people are doing deals, financing capital, finding, closing, and managing deals around the United States, we have a mentorship community program you can look into. We also have a software that we've developed that allows you to go direct to owners anywhere in the United States, 130 million different properties, direct to owners and market to them, find them using AI technology, overlay it on public data to find great opportunities off market, pre-market, direct to the owners and market to them. Phone numbers, text messaging, emails, direct marketing, mail pieces, the whole 9 yards to find owners, multifamily apartment buildings. This is for single family and multifamily. Single family and multifamily deals anywhere in the United States. You can click the links below and try that out. Just try it out. See if you like it. If you want to do it, you can continue forward. If not, don't have to do anything. Cancel anytime. But that is it. I hope this helps. I hope this was helpful for you. And if you want to learn more, jump on into our communities. We're here for you. Take care. Talk to you soon.